Well, hello and welcome once again to another edition of the Overcomer blog. I'm Dr. John Hawkins. I'm the president and founder of Gateway Counseling Center. We're located here in Boynton Beach, Florida. And our desire on this blog is to help you overcome some of the problems you're faced with on a daily basis. We have, you can go on our website. We have both our video blog and our written blog. Today I want you to think about a subject that most people, I think they don't like to think about it. But I've entitled today's blog, Living Like You're Dying. That sound familiar at all? Well, Tim McGraw has a song by that name. And if you haven't listened to it, why don't you YouTube it? That's a great song. I love that song. And it reminds me of some words of wisdom given to us by what I consider to be one of the world's greatest psychologists. And no, it's not Sigmund Freud. It's a fellow by the name of Solomon. He was king of the nation of Israel a long time ago. And he wrote a book called Ecclesiastes. And that book is all about finding the purpose and meaning of life. And that's what Solomon was looking for as he wrote this book. He was a man who knew it at one time and kind of forgot it along the way and got sidetracked. But I want to read you just a couple words of wisdom and think about this thought. He says this in the book, in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2. He said, "It's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart." Now, what in the world is he saying there? Is he saying it's better to go to a funeral than go to a party? You know, when people want to have a good time, they don't go to funerals. Matter of fact, sometimes people say about a party, hey, this party is dead. I don't think I'll stick around here. Now, what he's saying is that the death is the end of all mankind. It's the great equalizer. We all face that. And sometime in the counseling center, we're running into people that are dealing with that. They've gotten in touch with what I call their mortality, and they're wondering how to face it. And so we need to be able to live in acceptance of this reality, not in denial of it, because that prepares us for knowing really how to live successfully in life. Now, our culture isn't very good at that. Our culture lives in denial of it. And, the reality is, I think a lot of times we all do that. We make plans for tomorrow, for next year, for 20 years from now. We don't sit around thinking about when we're going to die. We know it's a reality, but we push it out of the back of our mind. We want to get on with life and enjoy it and be happy. But what I found is people reach a certain age, usually between 45 and 55, when they come in touch with that reality. They come in touch with their mortality. A lot of times we'll call that midlife crisis. I prefer to call it the existential crisis. And that's where people start to realize, hey, I have more life behind me than in front of me. I'm not in my 20s anymore. And they start to realize I have limited time here on the earth. And what am I going to do with it? And so people can go one of two ways. It can be a time, a season of reflection for them, of self-evaluation, a time where they make adjustments and new plans to live out their legacy years of their life. Like a ball team going into halftime and taking a look at the first half they played and make adjustments. Their goal is to come out and win the game, to finish well. And that's what I like to say to people. We can't always control how we start or sometimes how we do in the middle, but we can control how we finish. And that's my desire for myself and for you, that we finish well, in spite of our mistakes and our regrets. Now, the other thing that can happen to people is they can go into denial, panic, depression, and there's no evaluation. They just double down on more bad decisions, more escapism, trying to regain their lost youth, and that just produces a barrel load of regret. They end up alienating themselves from their loved ones, and they end up finishing their life in isolation or among strangers who pretend to be their friends for their own gain. Solomon said again, "For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart." The end of all mankind. None of us will live forever in this life. And he says, if you're wise, lay that to heart. In other words, live like you are dying, because you are. Live in the moment. Make every day count. this doesn't make life depressing. It makes life more exciting. We live more intentionally, and we face and plan for this reality so we have a better quality of life now. And I'm going to write a few more thoughts in our written blog about this. In fact, I'm working on a book that takes us through the book of Ecclesiastes, because there's so much practical wisdom there. And so you can look for that on the blog before too long on this subject of living like you're dying. And I hope today I was able to say something that just kind of jogged your thinking a little bit. And by the way, if you haven't heard it, go to YouTube, check that out. Live like you're dying. Well, this is Dr. John. Remember, you can overcome, because that's what you're designed to be. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye now.